We came to Earth for repairs and left with upgrades, coffee, and a complete war fleet. 7 was not supposed to have problems. Its engines were state-of-the-art, its shields top of the line, and its crew among the best trained in the galaxy. Yet, as it passed near a small blue planet that few took seriously, disaster struck. A sudden energy surge in the ship's core caused systems to fail one by one. Lights flickered, alarms blared. The hum of the engines became a low groan. The captain, Leora, held her hand steady on the control console, trying to calm both herself and her crew. "This was not in the plan," muttered Tekon, the chief engineer, his eyes scanning streams of malfunction codes. "We have less than 20% core power. If we don't land soon, we could lose propulsion entirely." The planet below was beautiful from orbit. Swirling blue oceans, scattered green land masses, and white clouds drifting lazily across its surface. Its beauty would have been peaceful if not for the urgency pressing down on the crew. The planet's inhabitants were not advanced enough to detect spacecraft under normal conditions, but still, there was always a risk. Leora made her decision. "Prepare for emergency landing," she ordered. Her voice was calm, but inside she felt a tension that made her stomach tighten. "We'll make contact only if necessary. We repair quietly and leave before anyone notices." The descent was rough. The Aurora 7 was not built for atmospheric maneuvers on small, unpredictable planets, and the crew had to improvise. Tekon and his team manually adjusted the thrusters, their hands moving faster than any human could follow. Sweat ran down their faces. Outside, the planet's surface rushed toward them, forests and rivers blurring into streaks of green and blue. Finally, the ship landed with a shudder. The crew breathed a collective sigh of relief. Nothing was broken beyond repair, but they could not afford complacency. As they surveyed the surroundings, the reality of Earth struck them. The planet was noisy, vibrant, chaotic in a way they had never experienced. Small flying machines, called airplanes according to intercepted signals, dotted the sky, and on the ground structures of various shapes and sizes stretched in all directions. Leora's first thought was caution. The humans here were primitive compared to their own species. They had no interstellar travel, no knowledge of faster-than-light engines, and their weapons were laughably simple. Yet what they lacked in technology, they made up for in unpredictability. She had seen civilizations that were highly advanced but slow and rigid. These humans, she realized, were something different, inventive, resourceful, and surprisingly adaptable. The crew moved carefully. Every step they took was calculated, every sound muted. Tekon carried portable repair equipment, while another team member, Sana, scanned the environment for life forms. The sensors were overwhelmed by the sheer density of activity. Cars, people, machines, and buildings created patterns too complex for their automated systems to process efficiently. Then they saw it. A small group of humans, unaware of the ship above, were working in what looked like a workshop. They were repairing vehicles, improvising solutions, and using tools in ways that seemed crude at first but were clever upon closer inspection. Leora felt a spark of curiosity. Perhaps these humans could help them after all. Not intentionally, of course, they must remain hidden, but even observation could provide insights. The crew set up a minimal perimeter around the ship, making it appear like a fallen meteor to any human on the ground. They began diagnosing the damage. Core systems were unstable, thrusters were misaligned, and life support ran on borrowed time. Tekon worked with precision, guided by the sensors and schematics he had memorized long ago. Hours passed, and still they did not need to interact with the humans directly. They watched in fascination as the small group continued to work. One of the humans used a pulley system to lift a heavy engine component that seemed impossible to move by hand. Another carefully welded a metal piece, testing it for strength in a way that reminded Tekon of his own crew's procedures. Leora noted every detail. These humans were slow, yes, but they were clever and persistent. As night fell, the planet's lights began to glow. Cities flickered like tiny constellations, rivers reflected the moonlight, and the forest stretched endlessly into darkness. The Aurora Seven's crew worked under the cover of night, repairing what they could while remaining unnoticed. Occasionally, a curious human would wander near, staring at the faint glow of the ship. Taken held his breath, ready to activate the stealth shields if necessary, but each time the humans simply moved on, unaware. By the end of the first cycle of repairs, the core systems were stable enough to function at half capacity. It was not perfect, but it would allow them to leave if needed. Leora gathered her team and reviewed their situation. They were in unfamiliar territory, dependent on resources not designed for their technology, and surrounded by a species they could not fully predict. And yet there was something about this place that intrigued her. These humans, chaotic as they were, had an energy and creativity that no automated repair system could match.
I don't trust them fully, Tekon warned.
They are unpredictable. We cannot underestimate their potential to interfere or help accidentally. Leora nodded.
Agreed.
But for now, observation is enough. Learn what you can, repair what we must, and stay hidden. We are here for survival, nothing more. The first day on Earth ended with cautious optimism. The ship was stable, the crew was alive, and the humans remained unaware. But beneath the surface of this quiet success was a subtle shift. The humans' ingenuity was not something the Aurora 7's crew had anticipated. They repaired quickly, yes, but they also noticed problems in ways the crew had never expected. A broken tool was fixed with an improvised solution. A damaged machine was improved slightly, without realizing it. Each observation brought new ideas, new possibilities. Leora could not stop thinking about it. Perhaps this planet, this small blue world, was more valuable than anyone had assumed. Not for its resources, not for its strategic position, but for its people, their ability to adapt, to think differently, to invent solutions under constraints. As the crew prepared for the next day, they knew one thing for certain. This mission would not be as simple as repairs and departure. They had landed for survival, but they had discovered something unexpected.
On Earth, in the chaos of ordinary life, there was potential. Potential that could change everything. And so, the Aurora
7's crew settled in for the first night on Earth, unaware that their emergency landing was only the beginning. The humans below would continue their work, oblivious to the silent observers above. But soon, small interactions, accidental, harmless at first, would begin to alter the fate of both the visitors and the planet itself. The next morning, the Aurora 7 crew woke to the soft hum of the planet. Earth's atmosphere felt different, thicker, alive with movement, and somehow chaotic in a way that both unsettled and fascinated them. Leora stood at a small viewport observing the humans below. They were everywhere, moving in strange patterns that made no sense to the crew at first glance. Cars zoomed along winding roads, people hurried through streets carrying objects, and small machines flew overhead, leaving trails of smoke behind. Taken appeared beside her, holding a datapad full of readings.
The humans are...
They respond to their environment in ways that are efficient but not logical by our standards. Leora nodded. That may be their strength. We cannot underestimate them. Today, we observe. Tomorrow, we may need to interact. The crew spent the morning inspecting the ship. Most of the urgent repairs had been completed, but smaller issues remained. Life support was stable. Thrusters were calibrated, and the energy core was functioning at half capacity. It was enough to survive, but not enough to leave Earth yet. As they worked, their sensors detected movement near the landing site. A small group of humans had come closer than before. They were engineers, it seemed, using tools to repair an old vehicle that had clearly seen better days. Leora held her breath as the team observed them. These humans had no idea that something extraordinary was watching them. Sina whispered, "Their techniques are interesting. Look at how they improvise." One of the humans had taken a piece of scrap metal and fashioned a makeshift lever. Another carefully aligned parts of the engine, testing each connection before moving to the next. Tekon shook his head in amazement. They're not highly advanced. But they notice details we might miss, he said. Their solutions are creative. They don't follow strict protocols. They experiment, test, and adapt. That's rare for any species. Leora watched silently, thinking about the possibilities. The crew had come for repairs, but perhaps the humans could help in ways they had not expected. Carefully, she decided to make limited contact. Not direct, but subtle. She instructed the crew to leave small tools and replacement parts near the humans' workspace. Nothing large enough to be suspicious, only enough to make their work easier. At first, the humans were puzzled. One of them picked up a strange alloy the crew had left behind, turning it over in his hands. He tested it, tapped it, and finally incorporated it into the old engine. Within minutes, the engine's performance improved. The humans smiled at each other, unaware that the gift had come from an entirely different world. The crew observed quietly, amazed. Each improvement the humans made taught them something new. Small adjustments that the aliens would never have considered enhanced their own repair plans. Leora began to see a pattern. Humans might be simple in technology, but they had ingenuity in abundance. As the day progressed, the humans took a break. They sat together with small cups of a dark aromatic liquid, something called coffee. Tekan raised an eyebrow. "What is that?" he asked, curious. Sina smiled.
It's a stimulant. It sharpens the mind, increases focus.
Humans rely on it heavily. Leora considered it. Interesting. Perhaps we should observe the effects. It may benefit us as well. Later, as the humans returned to work, the crew secretly tried a small sample. The effect was immediate. Thoughts became clearer, reaction times faster, and ideas flowed effortlessly. Tekan's hands moved with precision he hadn't thought possible under Earth's gravitational conditions. Even Leora felt sharper, more alert. What had seemed like a simple beverage turned out to be a powerful tool, one that enhanced the crew's abilities in ways they had not anticipated. Encouraged by the unexpected advantage, the crew worked with renewed energy. The repair schedule accelerated. The ship's core systems began functioning beyond their previous limits. Thrusters operated smoothly, energy distribution was optimized, and minor issues with navigation were resolved. The humans continued their work below, oblivious to the alien observers and the benefits they had unwittingly provided. As evening approached the Aurora, 7 crew decided to test the humans' creativity further. They left behind small challenges, mechanical problems, complex circuits, and broken tools. The humans approached each obstacle with curiosity and determination, solving them using logic, improvisation, and collaboration. Tekan noted every method, every clever shortcut, and every innovation. "They're teaching us as much as we're teaching them," he said quietly. Leora nodded. "Yes. But we must remain careful. Any overt contact could expose us. For now, observation is key. We can learn more from their ingenuity than from any manual or guidebook." That night, as the crew gathered in the ship's observation lounge, they reviewed the day's findings. The humans' ability to solve problems under constraints was astonishing. They used tools creatively adapted to unexpected situations and collaborated without hierarchy. Tekan pointed to the data. "If we integrate some of these methods into our repairs, we could not only restore the ship but improve it beyond its original design." Sina laughed softly. Who knew simple humans could be so revolutionary? They are dangerous in their own way. Not violent, but unpredictable. We must respect that. For now they are allies in knowledge, whether they realize it or not. Over the next several Earth cycles, the crew continued their cautious observation. The humans taught them more than they could have imagined. Small innovations in tools, energy systems, and mechanical design influenced the alien repairs in ways that accelerated progress exponentially. The crew began to see patterns in human creativity, an adaptability that was instinctual, not learned. One evening, a young human accidentally discovered a minor alien device left near the workshop. It hummed softly, lights blinking in a pattern the humans had never seen. Instead of destroying it or panicking, the humans examined it carefully, poked at it, and tested hypotheses. Within hours, they had understood its basic function and integrated its energy flow into their own machines. Tekon watched, astonished.
They understand without knowing, he whispered. It's instinctual, like...
A natural talent for invention. Leora felt a strange mix of admiration and caution. These humans were not dangerous in a conventional sense, but their creativity could accelerate technological growth far faster than anyone expected. The Aurora 7 crew realized that their original mission, simple repairs and departure, might evolve into something far more complex. By the end of the second day, the ship was more stable than it had been since leaving their home world. Core systems functioned at near optimal efficiency, and minor repairs had been completed ahead of schedule. The crew, energized by both the coffee and the humans' inadvertent assistance, began to see a vision they had not imagined before. The possibility of not just repairing the ship, but improving it. Yet, amidst the excitement, caution remained. Leora gathered the team. We must remember our priorities. Observation first, repairs second. Interaction only when necessary. Humans are clever, but they are unpredictable. One wrong move, and our mission could be compromised. Tekken nodded.
Agreed. But I cannot deny.
I am fascinated. Their methods are unlike anything I have seen in the galaxy. We are learning faster than we expected, Sina added with a smile. And their coffee isn't bad either. It makes the long hours much more bearable. As night fell again, the crew prepared for rest. The humans below continued their own work, unaware that they were shaping the course of alien technology and influencing an advanced species' survival. The Aurora 7 crew drifted to sleep with a sense of cautious optimism, knowing that Earth was more than just a stopover. It was a source of inspiration, innovation, and unexpected advantage. The first real contact, though indirect, had begun, and both species, in their own ways, were learning from each other. The aliens were gaining repair techniques, new strategies, and even a boost from a simple human drink. The humans were unknowingly teaching concepts that might one day change the galaxy. In the quiet of the night, Leora looked out over the darkened Earth. Lights sparkled below like stars fallen to the ground. She thought of the days ahead, of repairs yet to complete, and of the potential these humans held. The mission was no longer about survival alone. It had become a story of unexpected collaboration, innovation, and discovery. For the first time, the Aurora 7 crew realized that their emergency landing had not been a setback, but a chance to learn, adapt, and perhaps even grow stronger than they had ever imagined. The morning sun stretched across the horizon, casting soft golden light over the planet's surface. The Aurora 7's crew stirred, energized by the previous day's discoveries. Leora stood at the observation viewport, her eyes following the humans below. They were active as ever, repairing vehicles, experimenting with small machines, and sharing ideas in small clusters. Each human movement seemed purposeful yet unpredictable, and the crew could not help but be fascinated. Today, however, the focus was not observation alone. Tekken had discovered something remarkable overnight. A small human invention, a simple drink called coffee, had altered their own performance in ways no alien technology could replicate. Leora had observed the effects herself. Cognition became sharper, reactions faster, and even the smallest repairs that previously took hours now progressed in minutes. Today, we experiment carefully, she instructed. We will see how much humans can unintentionally enhance our abilities, but remain hidden. Direct contact is still too risky. Sina prepared a small sample of the coffee, analyzing it with precision. The drink was simple. Water infused with roasted beans, but its effects were astonishing. When Tekon sipped it, his eyes widened. I feel faster, clearer, he said. I can anticipate malfunctions before they occur. This is incredible! Leora nodded, studying the readings on her own console. Not only faster, but the mind seems to integrate new information differently. It's as if our neural processing has been upgraded. With renewed energy, the crew returned to the ship's repairs. The Aurora 7 had already recovered much of its functionality, but smaller inefficiencies still existed. Thruster calibration was slightly off, energy routing could be optimized, and the navigation system needed fine-tuning. Normally, these adjustments would take several cycles, but under the influence of the coffee, Tekan and Sena worked with unprecedented speed. Meanwhile, the humans below continued their own work. Leora watched as a small group discovered a minor mechanical flaw in a vehicle's engine. They discussed the problem quietly, gesturing with hands and exchanging ideas. One human tested a component, while another improvised a replacement from scrap materials. Within moments, the problem was solved. Not perfectly, but efficiently.
It's remarkable, Sena whispered. They are improving systems without realizing it.
And we are learning from them at the same time.
The crew began to experiment with a subtle collaboration. They left behind small tools and replacement parts near the humans' workspace, carefully avoiding any direct interaction. One of the humans discovered a complex piece of alien alloy and examined it curiously. He incorporated it into a vehicle's engine, enhancing its performance in a way the aliens had not anticipated. Taken noted the changes meticulously, realizing that humans had a natural talent for problem-solving that relied less on structured protocols and more on creativity and intuition. By midday, the coffee's effects had worn slightly, but the crew had already achieved more than they had thought possible. Core systems were fully stable, thrusters operated at maximum efficiency, and life support had improved beyond original specifications. Takan laughed softly. If we continue like this, we could finish repairs ahead of schedule.
Do not become complacent. Observation first. Experimentation second. And always maintain stealth. Humans are unpredictable. We must respect that unpredictability.
Despite her warnings, she could not help but feel a sense of excitement. The coffee had unlocked new potential in the crew, and the humans' accidental assistance was proving invaluable.
It was a combination no alien mission had ever experienced before. Technology enhanced by biological ingenuity and further amplified by a simple human drink.
As the afternoon progressed, the crew faced a new challenge.
A minor power fluctuation in the core threatened to halt all progress. Normally, Tekan would have needed several hours to isolate and fix the issue, but under the effects of coffee, he worked almost instinctively.
He adjusted energy flows, rerouted power, and stabilized the system in record time. Leora watched in awe.
Perhaps we underestimated the humans' influence, she said quietly.
Their culture, their inventions, their coffee. It is enhancing us more than any equipment we brought with us.
Their approach to problem-solving, their creativity, is contagious. We are learning faster because of them.
The humans, oblivious to the impact they were having, continued their routine. One of them took apart a broken tool and examined it carefully.
Rather than discarding it, he modified it, creating a small device that was more efficient than the original. Tekan examined the readings from the device.
If we integrate this principle into our systems, we can improve efficiency by at least 20%, he said. Leora smiled, a rare moment of genuine excitement. This is more than repairs now. We are learning, upgrading, and evolving because of this planet and its people.
And all without them knowing. As evening fell, the humans gathered to rest while the Aurora 7 crew reviewed the day's progress. The ship's systems were nearly optimal.
Thrusters, navigation, energy core, and life support were all performing at levels beyond their original design. Small inefficiencies remained, but the potential was enormous. Tomorrow, Leora said, we integrate their lessons fully. We continue observing, but we also apply what we have learned directly to the ship. The humans are teaching us methods that could change our technology forever. The crew settled in for rest, but excitement and anticipation kept them alert.
Leora gazed out at the darkened earth, dotted with tiny sparkling lights.
The humans below were asleep, unaware that their actions and inventions had influenced an advanced species.
That night, Leora reflected on the implications. The mission had started as a simple emergency repair. Now, it had become something far more significant. The humans, through creativity, collaboration, and even something as simple as coffee, were shaping the future of the Aurora.
7 crew. Takan, lying in his quarters, could not sleep. He replayed the day's work in his mind. The successful repairs, the improvements, the accidental innovations from the humans below. "We are witnessing something extraordinary," he whispered to himself. "We are learning in ways no protocol or guidebook could teach." Sina, too, stayed awake, sketching ideas and testing simulations.
"If this continues," she said softly,
"we will leave this planet not just repaired, but transformed, enhanced in ways we never imagined."
Direct interaction with humans was still dangerous, but subtle influence could continue to enhance the crew's abilities. She began to plan experiments carefully, small, non-invasive, and safe interventions that would allow the humans to contribute without realizing it. The night passed quietly, and dawn brought a new day of possibilities. Coffee, ingenuity, and careful observation had turned a simple repair mission into something far more remarkable. The crew now faced a future filled with potential, both exciting and unpredictable. By mid-morning, the Aurora
7 was fully operational, its systems upgraded beyond expectations. Tekken and Sina marveled at their work, knowing that the humans had unknowingly accelerated their progress.
Leora, as always, remained cautious, aware that any sudden exposure could jeopardize the mission. Yet, even with caution, a sense of wonder permeated the ship. The crew had not only repaired their vessel but discovered a hidden advantage in the most unexpected of ways. Coffee and human creativity had unlocked a level of performance and insight that no alien technology alone could provide.
By the end of the 3rd day, the Aurora 7 crew was transformed. Not just in technology, but in thinking.
Observation and adaptation had become second nature. The humans below continued their routines, unaware that their everyday actions were guiding an advanced species toward a level of innovation previously thought impossible. Leora stood one last time at the observation viewport before rest. Lights flickered across the Earth's surface.
Small figures moved in streets and workshops, inventing, creating, and solving problems. The crew had begun to understand that survival was only part of the mission. Discovery, learning, and adaptation had become equally important. And so, as the night fell again, the Aurora 7 rested with a sense of accomplishment. The humans below, with their strange habits, clever minds, and simple drink, had changed the course of the mission. The crew slept with renewed energy, knowing that tomorrow would bring even greater possibilities, and perhaps the first real step toward a bond between their worlds. The emergency repair mission had turned into something far greater. Coffee, ingenuity, and quiet observation were transforming the Aurora Traveler 7 and its crew forever. The next day, the Aurora 7 crew awoke to the familiar sights and sounds of Earth. Birds sang across the forests, the wind rustled the trees, and the humans below moved about their daily tasks with an energy that never seemed to fade. Leora gazed through the observation viewport, reflecting on everything they had learned so far. Coffee, human ingenuity, and careful observation had allowed the crew not only to repair their ship but to enhance it beyond original design. Today, however, the mission would enter a new stage. "Today, we begin upgrades," Leora announced to the crew. Her voice was calm but carried an edge of excitement. "The ship is stable, but it can do more. We will integrate what we've learned from the humans. Efficiency, adaptability, and creative problem-solving will guide our work."
Tekken and Senna exchanged a glance, both smiling with anticipation. They had been analyzing the human solutions all night, planning ways to adapt the ideas to the Aurora division.
7 systems. Each simple tool or mechanical trick the humans had used could now influence alien engineering in profound ways.
The crew set to work immediately. Energy conduits were rerouted for maximum efficiency, thrusters were recalibrated for smoother response, and minor structural reinforcements were added using human-inspired designs.
Leora supervised, ensuring that each adjustment maintained safety while maximizing performance.
As they worked, the crew kept an eye on the humans below. One small group had discovered a broken water pump in a local workshop. Instead of leaving it broken, they tested each component, improvised a repair, and ultimately created a device that performed better than the original.
Tekken studied their method carefully. They approach problems with flexibility, he said.
They do not follow strict procedures. They explore possibilities, try them out, and learn from each attempt. Leora nodded. We can use that. Adaptive systems could allow the ship to respond to unknown conditions without waiting for our input. Humans have shown us a path forward.
By mid-morning, the crew had implemented the first wave of upgrades. Energy efficiency increased, minor systems began self-correcting, and navigation responded faster to simulated obstacles.
Even life support showed improvement. Systems adjusted automatically to changes in external pressure and temperature. Tekken marveled at the results. The ship is no longer just repaired, it is evolving. We are evolving. But progress did not stop there.
The humans, through their simple experiments and improvisation, unknowingly provided inspiration for another aspect of the mission: defensive systems. Leora had long avoided weapon upgrades, focusing only on survival. However, in the wake of delayed intelligence from their home galaxy, the crew realized that the original mission had suddenly become more urgent. Threats were rising elsewhere, and they could not risk leaving the ship vulnerable.
Prepare for optional defensive enhancements, Leora instructed. We will adapt ideas from the humans' engineering. Nothing dangerous yet. Just defensive readiness in case of emergency. The crew began observing the humans for patterns of resourcefulness that could inform the design of defensive systems.
One human, for example, had built a reinforced structure using basic materials, testing it by applying pressure and adjusting the design until it held. Tekken studied this carefully.
The principle is simple but effective, he said. Reinforcement through iteration. We can apply the same concept to shield matrices and structural armor. Sina nodded.
And they do it quickly without overthinking. We can adopt their trial and error approach, running multiple iterations in parallel. With this strategy, the Aurora 7 underwent its next stage of transformation. Shields were strengthened using adaptive layering inspired by human construction methods. Small automated defensive systems were added, able to respond to potential threats without direct input from the crew.
Every adjustment was subtle, yet it increased the ship's resilience beyond what standard protocols could achieve. Meanwhile, humans continued their own inventive work below, unaware of their influence.
One young engineer had combined a broken mechanical arm with a makeshift lever system, producing an outcome that was more efficient than either component alone.
Tekken observed carefully. This is exactly the type of innovation we need for the ship. Combining existing systems in new ways increases overall efficiency and adaptability.
They are teaching us more than we could have imagined.
Their inventions are not just helpful, they are revolutionary in principle. By afternoon, the ship was operating at peak efficiency. Core systems were optimized, thrusters responded instantly, shields adjusted dynamically, and navigation could predict obstacles before encountering them. The Aurora
7 was no longer a repaired vessel. It had become something new, almost alive in its adaptability. The crew paused briefly to assess progress.
Tekken spread his hands over the console.
We are not finished yet. There is more we can learn from the humans. Their creativity is limitless, and we have barely begun to integrate it fully.
Sina smiled. They are unaware that their ideas are changing a starship.
That makes it even more remarkable. Cord discerned the next step. We will continue observation, but tomorrow we begin a new phase. Experimentation with more complex systems.
We will use human-inspired methods to test the limits of the ship's capabilities. But we must remain careful. Any exposure could compromise the mission.
Evening fell, and the humans below began to gather for rest. The Aurora
7 crew used the quiet hours to plan the next stage of upgrades. They would experiment with new propulsion adjustments, dynamic energy distribution, and even modular expansions. Ideas inspired directly by human improvisation. Each improvement increased the ship's versatility, allowing it to perform multiple functions that were not part of the original design. The night was quiet, yet full of possibilities. Leora walked the ship's observation deck, reflecting on the transformations they had achieved. The mission had begun as an emergency repair, evolved into a learning experience, and now was shaping the Aurora 7 into something far more capable than anyone had planned.
They are teaching us in ways we cannot ignore, she said softly. Not intentionally, but through observation, adaptation, and even the simplest inventions. Tekan joined her, holding a small pad filled with notes from the day. The human's influence is incredible. Their methods are simple, but they work. If we continue like this, we will leave Earth not just repaired, but fully upgraded, Sina added. And we have coffee. That has helped more than any system manual ever could.
Leora smiled, but her expression remained serious.
Tomorrow, we take the final step in this phase, testing the ship under conditions it was never designed for.
Humans may not realize it, but their creativity has given us a chance to push beyond our limits. We must proceed carefully, but boldly.
The crew rested for the night, energized and alert. Leora gazed at the lights of Earth below. Each tiny workshop, each small movement of humans had contributed to the upgrades. The emergency mission had grown into a collaboration across species, even if one side remained completely unaware.
By the end of the 4th day, the Aurora 7 had undergone a transformation.
Repairs were complete. Efficiency had improved dramatically. Defensive systems were enhanced, and human-inspired innovations had been fully integrated into core and auxiliary systems.
The ship was no longer a simple vessel. It was a prototype of something far greater, capable of adaptation and improvement far beyond its original design. Leora reflected on the journey so far. The mission had begun in crisis, yet Earth had offered lessons, inspiration, and unexpected tools. Coffee, human ingenuity, and careful observation had turned an ordinary repair mission into a transformative experience. The crew slept with anticipation, knowing that tomorrow would bring the final phase, evaluating the ship's upgrades under stress and testing its new capabilities.
What had started as a survival mission had now become an experiment in innovation, adaptability, and collaboration. An experiment guided by a species they barely understood but could not help admiring.
And as the night deepened, the humans below slept unaware that their creativity, curiosity, and everyday inventions were shaping the destiny of an advanced starship and its crew, preparing them for challenges far beyond anything they had imagined. The emergency repair mission had evolved into something extraordinary. Coffee, ingenuity, observation, and subtle adaptation had transformed the Aurora Pan
7 into more than a vessel. It had become a symbol of the possibilities that arise when two worlds even unknowingly influence each other. The morning sun rose over Earth, casting long golden rays across forests, rivers, and cities. The Aurora 7 had never looked more ready. Its systems were fully upgraded, its energy core optimized, and its defensive shield strengthened. Every repair, every improvement, and every human-inspired innovation had transformed the ship into something far beyond its original design.
The crew gathered in the main observation room, a mixture of pride, excitement, and anticipation on their faces. "This is it," Leora said softly, her eyes on the horizon.
Tomorrow we leave Earth, but we are not leaving as we arrived. The ship is stronger, faster, and more adaptable than ever before. We have learned, we have improved, and we have been inspired. Everything we take from this planet will carry forward into the galaxy. Taken adjusted the console controls, reviewing final reports. We are ready, Captain. The core systems are stable, shields are at maximum efficiency, and navigation can handle any course. We are not only prepared for departure, but for challenges we could never have anticipated when the mission began. Sina smiled as she checked the auxiliary systems. And the humans have unknowingly helped us every step of the way. Their inventions, their problem-solving, their energy. It has all guided our improvements.
Coffee may seem small, but it has made a difference too. Leora nodded, thinking of the countless small moments over the past days. Humans lifting heavy objects with improvised tools, combining broken parts to create something new, and even the simple rituals that inspired clarity and focus.
Every one of these had contributed to the Aurora 7's transformation. Yet, despite the excitement, caution remained. Leora addressed the crew with the seriousness the situation demanded. Remember, we leave quietly. Humans must remain unaware of our presence.
We depart as silently as we arrived. Observation first, exit second. Nothing else. The crew worked through the final hours, performing last-minute checks and testing systems one last time. Thrusters ignited smoothly, energy flowed seamlessly across the ship, and all defensive measures responded correctly. Even minor systems, inspired by human ingenuity, were operating flawlessly.
It was a level of performance that would have been unimaginable before the Earth mission began. As the Aurora 7 prepared for liftoff, Leora glanced out the viewport one final time. The humans below were beginning their daily routines, oblivious to the extraordinary events that had taken place above them.
Leora felt a mix of gratitude and respect. They had come to Earth for repairs, yet they were leaving with knowledge, experience, and inspiration that would resonate far beyond this planet.
Engage stealth systems, she ordered. The Aurora
7 shimmered, blending into the atmosphere, invisible to human sensors. Takan activated the engines, and the hum of the thrusters was smooth, almost silent.
Every system functioned perfectly, a testament to the combined efforts of aliens and humans, though the humans would never know the role they had played. Liftoff was seamless. The ship rose through the atmosphere, leaving only a faint shimmer behind. The crew felt a sense of accomplishment, but also an understanding that their journey had changed them. What had begun as an emergency repair mission had become an extraordinary learning experience, a collaboration of species across worlds. As they exited Earth's orbit, the crew reviewed their upgrades one last time.
Shields were adaptive, energy systems were efficient beyond original specifications, and navigation could anticipate and avoid obstacles in ways previously impossible. Every innovation was documented, ready to be applied across their fleet.
And then came an unexpected realization. During the mission, the humans' ingenuity had not only enhanced the Aurora Fine's doubling.
7. They had inadvertently inspired new designs that could be replicated across other ships. The crew realized that, if necessary, they could build a fleet of enhanced vessels, each benefiting from the same human-inspired principles.
We have the means to expand, Takan said, a mixture of awe and excitement in his voice. The humans have shown us new ways to improve technology, and we can apply these to other ships. We could leave Earth with more than just our own upgrades. It was bold but feasible. Very well, she said. We take what we can, safely and efficiently, without harming the planet or its inhabitants. We expand our capabilities, but quietly. This is a chance to strengthen our fleet for the challenges ahead. The crew worked through the next cycle, preparing not just the Aurora 7, but creating blueprints for additional ships based on human-inspired improvements.
They adapted human problem-solving techniques, their trial-and-error methods, and even structural improvisation into scalable designs. Every aspect of the fleet benefited from lessons learned on Earth. During these preparations, the humans below continued their routines, unknowingly contributing to the process. Observing their simple methods and iterative problem-solving provided continuous inspiration. Leora observed quietly, appreciating how much the humans had contributed without realizing it.
By evening, the final preparations were complete.
The Aurora 7 was not only fully upgraded, but the crew now had the knowledge to replicate these improvements across multiple ships. They had learned, adapted, and grown beyond what any emergency mission could have predicted. Leora gathered the crew for a final briefing.
We leave Earth, not as the same crew that arrived, but as something more. Our ship is stronger, more efficient, and more capable. We have learned from a species we once thought simple, and they have given us tools, ideas, and inspiration that cannot be measured. We also leave with coffee, he joked lightly, eliciting small smiles from the team. Never underestimate the power of a small human invention.
It is remarkable how such a simple ritual can change everything. Leora looked out at the planet one last time. Lights flickered below, forests stretched endlessly, and rivers wound through the land like silver threads.
Earth had been more than a stopover. It had been a teacher, a partner, and a source of innovation.
She felt the deep respect for the humans and the unexpected role they had played in shaping the mission.
Engage jump coordinates, she commanded.
The Aurora. Seven's engines glowed brightly, and in moments the ship left Earth's solar orbit, heading back into the galaxy. The crew felt a mixture of excitement and reflection. They had completed repairs, achieved upgrades beyond expectation, and now carried not only technology but knowledge, creativity, and inspiration. As they traveled through space, the crew reviewed their mission in detail.
Every system had been enhanced, every principle tested, and every lesson learned had been documented.
They realized that the emergency landing had transformed into a historic event, the first indirect collaboration between humans and their species, producing innovations that could influence the galaxy. And yet, amidst the excitement, the crew maintained humility. The humans had acted without knowledge, without intention, yet their contributions had been profound. Leora reflected on the importance of respect, observation, and learning. Sometimes the smallest actions could have the largest impact. During the journey, the crew even experimented with extending human-inspired improvements beyond technology.
Their planning, problem-solving, and collaboration were influenced by what they had observed. Teams worked together more efficiently, solutions were more creative, and decision-making improved.
Human ingenuity had left an imprint not only on the ship but on the crew themselves. Days later, after extensive testing, the Aurora 7's fleet expansion was complete. Blueprints for additional ships incorporated human-inspired systems, adaptive designs, and flexible methods that could respond to unforeseen challenges.
The crew now possessed the ability to deploy a fleet more capable than any their species had ever seen. Leora recorded her final report. Earth has changed the course of our mission. We arrived for repairs, but we leave with upgrades, inspiration, and a new understanding of ingenuity.
Humans are more than they appear. Their creativity, persistence, and even simple inventions have prepared us for the challenges ahead.
We depart with gratitude, respect, and a fleet strengthened by the lessons learned here. The crew gathered one last time, reflecting on the journey.
What had started as an emergency mission had become a story of learning, adaptation, and unexpected collaboration. Earth had provided more than repair materials. It had offered ideas, perspective, and a reminder that creativity often comes in unexpected forms.
Finally, the Aurora 7 and its expanded fleet disappeared into the stars, leaving Earth behind. The humans below never knew the role they had played, but their ingenuity had changed the course of events for an advanced species. What had begun as an ordinary emergency landing had transformed into an extraordinary mission of growth, learning, and preparation for the future.
Leora smiled at her crew. "We came for repairs," she said softly. "But we leave with upgrades, knowledge, and a fleet that can face the galaxy with confidence. And all thanks to a small blue planet, its people, and even a simple cup of coffee." The crew laughed softly, knowing that this mission would be remembered not for the danger they had faced, but for the unexpected gifts of creativity, observation, and collaboration. The Aurora 7's journey was complete, yet it was only the beginning of a future shaped by lessons learned on Earth, a planet that had changed everything, quietly and unknowingly, with ingenuity, persistence, and kindness.